And then the first 4 verses, before Krishna talks about Ashtanga Yoga, he emphasizes the importance of Karma Yoga, because artificially one cannot renounce work. One needs to go through the process of purification through work if one is following this kind of a step ladder for Bhakti Yoga, progress towards Bhakti Yoga finally. So that stage where purification must occur through Karma Yoga, or a neophyte devotee, is called Yoga Ruksha stage. And then when the purification has happened and one is able to practice the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, then that stage is called as Yoga Ruddha stage. Okay. So Krishna first verse is like that, the importance of Karma Yoga, Anashita Karma Phalam, Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha, Sa Sannyasi Cha, yes, Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha, Nacha Akriya Chana Nira Agnir. Okay, so one who, not the one who lights no fire and does no work. That person is not a sannyasi and that person is not a yogi. Then we understood the stages of Ashtanga Yoga, like 8 limb yoga system. And then I gave a brief overview. Maybe I could just bring the slide of the 8 limb system of Ashtanga Yoga, where the Ashtanga, or the limbs, where Bhagavad Gita mentions about everything. Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, and Samadhi. And then we discussed a little bit about the beginning of Yoga Ruddha stage. In Yoga Ruddha stage, what is the quality of a person who is situated in the Yoga Ruddha stage? That there is equanimity of the mind. The person sees the stone, pebble, and gold with the equal eye, right? That's what we studied, that person who is situated in that equality. Why are they able to see like that? Because they see everyone as a part and parcel of Krishna. So there's qualitative oneness, not quantitative oneness. Okay. And then we finished here last time that Krishna now tells how to become a yogi. So he first sets a goal, then he defines what is Yoga Rukshu, what is Yoga Ruddha, then he defines the quality of the Yoga Ruddha, then he tells us about the Ashtanga Yoga system, introduces it, and then he tells us about Yam, Niyam, this part where he says there is no possibility of one becoming a yogi or Arjun if one eats too much, eats too little, sleeps too much, does not sleep enough. That is Niyam, like external discipline, right? Yam is internal discipline, and then Niyam is external discipline. And we also studied about Asan, like how a yogi is sitting, remember? And Yam, Niyam, Asan. Then Pranayam, we also discussed a little bit as to how that person is breathing. And then Pratyahar and Dharan are something which is today's interest. In the context that everything is linked to Krishna. It's not that, okay, one is becoming an impersonalist after practicing this system of yoga. So he continues to say, this is pratyahar. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not to be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. So in Ashtanga Yoga, what is the center of control? What's the center of control in Ashtanga? Actually, any yoga system, but specifically in Ashtanga Yoga, what is the center of control? What is the yogi trying to control? What is the yogi trying to control?
Mind.
Mind, right? So all these activities of Yam, Niyam, Pratyahar, Asan, Dharana, Dhyan, all these activities are centered around controlling the mind. And what makes so it's not that, okay, I'm gonna become a yogi and then I'm gonna control someone else. Some mystic powers, some people become yogi to acquire some mystic powers, which Krishna talks about in I think Nectar of Devotion. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada talks about 8 kinds of mystic powers. But in Ashtanga Yoga system, that's not what is the interest. The interest is to control one's own mind, because it is by the state of the mind which determines where the conditioned soul goes next. Krishna has opened this avenue for each one of us to decide where we want to go, which means desire. So, to control that, one needs to control the mind. The problem with the modern system of education is one of the problems is that it doesn't talk about controlling the mind. It talks about, okay, we can manipulate the mind. For example, I'll give you an example. If somebody has an anger issue, okay, and then you put them in an anger management program. An anger management program, what are they saying? They're not going to the root cause. Okay, they say, okay, some of the authors that I've read, they say, okay, the anger means you have a need which needs to be fulfilled. So you get connected to the need, or they say, okay, if you get angry, then you have to let your anger out in such a manner that it doesn't harm anyone else. Like for children, we say punch a pillow, or go, or make holes on a, or go and do some jumping jacks or something like that. But nobody really talks about like controlling the mind, because the origin of the anger is, what is the psychology of Bhagavad Gita? Where is the origin of the anger? Second chapter. What is that verse? Mhm.
ध्यायते विषयान् पुंस
बोलो. Tell me more.
ध्यायते विषयान् पुंस संगास्तेषुपजायते संगात् संजायते काम कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते
Yeah.
क्रोधात् भवति
Uh-huh.
सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंश बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
So, yeah, thank you, Mataji. So we start somewhere in the middle in modern education system. Krishna starts from the root, dhayate vishyan punsaha. While contemplating the objects of senses, one develops attachment from them. From that attachment, lust arises. From lust, anger arises. So basically, if you go by Krishna's treatment plan, then one doesn't need to focus on anger, focus on contemplation of objects of senses. Okay, so that's why it's so defective, and that's why it doesn't work. I tell you, one author, this is so interesting, because we should be able to connect, or at least I see it that way, maybe not for you. Connect that what we are reading in Bhagavad Gita and what is really happening in our life, and then how do we bridge the gap or actually make a choice, right? It's about making a right choice, and the right choice will always be Krishna. It's never going to be anyone else. Never. It's not going to work. So there's this author called Lundi Bancroft. Okay, there's this author in America in 1980s. He's the one who started this pioneer program of batterer intervention program. So what happens in that program is that so many um, people, man and woman, who are in an abusive relationship. So he started to study the psychology of an abuser. Okay, so and he studied thousands of cases, and then he actually came to the program, came with a proposal for the US government that there is a need to start this batterer intervention. The program is called Batterer Intervention Program. In that program, what I read from his books, or what I read from his books, is that he actually, the batterer has to come, and then they have to redefine their psyche that makes them do the abuse. But it is not addressing the root cause, that it is because of contemplation of the objects with the senses. Yes, there is some meaning to it. It is not meaningless. But then, as the time went on and they started studying how many people enter that program with the psyche of being an abuser, and then after the program is very long, 9 to 12 months, and it is court mandated. It's not that you can miss the class. It's court. They're not like this class that, okay, I've made a money, I'm not gonna go. It's not like that. It's court mandated program. And then he started studying that how many people who come out actually make a change. Less than 40%. And that too, whoever made the change didn't sustain it over time. They actually reverted back. So why? And then this is, I can explain so many examples. There is a drug in America which is very famous. Okay, it's out of stock. I don't know if it's there in Canada too. Nikhil Prabhu, you tell me. It's called olanzapine. It's an injection which actually regulates the hunger center of the brain. And then people have like early satiety, so they don't eat much, and it's very effective. very, very effective. So it actually leads to weight loss. But it is very expensive. If you have like a private insurance, the copay is $1,400, for one injection. So then they say, okay, and it is out of stock all over US. It's like, oh my goodness. So okay, until you're taking the injection, the brain center is like, the hunger center in the brain is like, okay, we can't eat more, can't eat more, can't eat more, because we are suppressing the hunger center with this drug. But for some reason or the other, if somebody stops taking the injection, then they actually gain the weight back. Most of the people gain the weight back. How? How? Because this method is not really what it should be. Same thing with the addiction medicine, right? If what is their way of controlling the addiction? If somebody is addicted to, let's say, opioids, right? Like these, they do these benzos or cocaine or marijuana, whatever, they're addicted. What does addiction medicine say? Yeah, now your brain is programmed to seek pleasure from this drug. We are going to give you an artificially lab-made drug, which is going to mimic the euphoria, but will not cause the withdrawal effects. That is their addiction medicine. And then billions of dollars are spent. And there are hundreds of kinds of addiction. There's this alcohol addiction program, which is a 12-step program. This addiction, that addiction. But what is happening? And then how many people really, go back to go back to becoming an addict after they leave the program? 90% or more. Some people do get benefited. I teach in a hospital, right? So because we teach family medicine residents, which are seeing actually adult patients too. So they tell me that when they see these patients in the clinic, they see that, okay, somebody has got benefited, they really get benefited. They're able to go through it. But then most of the people are not benefited. Why? Because we are not including spirituality. We are actually missing out a very big part of our life in actually trying to do something meaningful in our life. We cannot do anything meaningful if we are not doing it from the right place. And the right place will always be Krishna. Always. It's never going to be this doctor, this medicine, this intervention, this drug, this don't get this motivational speaker. Okay, they all will make sense if there is Krishna also. Okay, so it's so important. So if you become convinced and you practice it, you can actually become a role model for so many other people. So Krishna says there's no possibility of one's becoming a yogi or Arjun if one eats too much, eats too little, sleeps too much, does not sleep enough. Right, and then the 17th verse says that one who can regulate the habits of eating, sleeping, and recreation can mitigate all material pains. So that is what we are talking about. We are not talking about a very small thing here. And if somebody becomes motivated to apply it at such a grand level, which Krishna will help because nothing is grand in his eyes, then it can make a real difference. And we have those kind of people. We have those kind of you become one too, doesn't have to be a very big educated PhD or whatever person to apply Krishna consciousness. One just has to be a devotee of Krishna, right? So then he says one should engage oneself in practice of yoga with determination. Prabhupada explains the meaning of the word determination and faith as what? What does he say in the purport? I have no faith if somebody read. What does he say? You can check the purport. Tell me, what does he say about determination and faith? And then he gives example of a determination of a sparrow who lost her eggs, right, to the ocean. And then she fights with the ocean. Are we ready to put up such a fight with the so-called normalcy defined by the society for our life? Are we ready? So that's what Krishna consciousness is. So gradually, see, Krishna also says it's a gradual process. It's not like a fast track. Step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. this is a very good verse in which we can base a workshop based on self-care. So a very nice verse for self-care. I had this idea while reading that we can make a workshop on this. So Krishna is saying that don't ignore yourself. Generally, uh, we think that selflessness means, now you tell me, was this your understanding too? Selflessness means keeping the needs of oneself lowest and giving importance to the needs of others around us first, putting others first before our own self. I used to think that's selflessness. Is this what you used to think too?
Yes,
Especially,
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
especially the women, I think, in India, right? I think yes, no. Okay, so two people said yes. And Nikhil Rabu is sometimes nodding here like this, like this. I don't know what to make out. What is
No,
what are you
Mataji.
trying to say?
Sorry, Mataji. I don't.
No?
You are right. Earlier, I used to think like that. But now I'm thinking no. If you are not able to take care of yourself first, then you are not able to take care of others as well. You need to be selfish in that aspect.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, anyone else? You see, that's our mental that's our thought, and then we have to verify the thought with what Krishna is saying, right? Guru Sadhu Shastra principle. So according to Krishna, so this is selflessness. One should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on self alone and should think of nothing else. So if we, which means what? That self is part and parcel of Krishna. If I am thinking of myself as belonging to this particular family, this particular body, this particular country, this particular, and it's internal, it's not like external. It's not that, okay, I'm going to become a fanatic and then I'm going to say, oh, I'm only Krishna's, I'm only Krishna. No, it's like yeah, maybe in Ashtakaliya Leela, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might be showing some transformations at that stage, but definitely not at the stage where we are. So the thing is, what I understand from Prabhupada's teachings is that see the self as part and parcel of Krishna only. Okay, not seeing the self as anything else. And to be able to do that, to be able to realize that self, that picture of oneself as part and parcel of Krishna only, is a gradual process. Because we have been conditioned by the material nature for so long to think of ourselves as someone else. What is that pastime? I can connect a pastime to it. Sixth canto Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastime of Chitraketu. You know that story? Do you know that pastime? Everybody knows. Chitraketu was a king who had 1 crore wives.
Yeah,
Anybody
Harsha
here?
Shok.
Yeah,
He gave birth.
1 million wives.
Yes,
Anybody here
yes.
with 1 million wives? 1 million wives he had, and then but he couldn't have children with any of the wives. So one Angira Rishi was passing by, and then he actually saw Chitraketu very sad. He was a good king. He was practicing. He was a Raj Rishi, and then in that he looked up to Angira Rishi. Chitraketu looked very sad. So Angira Rishi asked, there are 7 factors which make a king happy. So then he lists those 7 factors and asks, is this why you're unhappy? Is this why you're unhappy? He says, no, I am unhappy because I don't have any child. Then by the blessing of Angira Rishi, he gets a son from the first wife, which was the most capable wife, and he names the son as Harshashoka. Right? And then the Harshashoka, Angira Rishi says this son will be a cause of your happiness, but will also be a cause of your distress. So, without clarifying the matter, Chitraketu accepts it and then thinks within himself, happiness because I'm going to have a child, distress because I'm a king and he's going to be my son and he might be a spoiled brat, but who cares? At least I'll have a child. So, but then what happens? Because of the son from first wife, he tends to ignore the other wives who actually burn with jealousy. And then one time they gave poison to the child and the child dies. And then becomes like a very big wave of sadness goes to the kingdom. And then, um, while they were mourning the loss of the child, Narad Muni and Angira Rishi passes by again. And then there's a conversation. And then Narad Muni brings the child back. He's a small child, and few months old. He brings the child back and says that you cannot leave the body because you still have time remaining and you have to give joy to your parents. And then the child, when he wakes up, he actually talks like a realized soul. And then he says many things, but one of the things that he says is, Narad Muni says, you must give happiness to your mother and father. You still have time remaining in this body. This was a premature death. You need to fulfill that. Then the one thing that he says, which is stuck in my head for years, is which father and mother are you talking about? Because I have father and mother in every life. When I was a snake, I had father and mother. When I was a vegetable, I had father and mother. When I was a four-legged animal, I had father and mother. When I was an aquatic, I had father and mother. Which father and mother are you talking about? So when Chitraketu hears that, he gets like, oh my God. So that's like a transformation moment for him. So basically, this is a gradual process because we cannot just shed that identity fanatically and immediately. We can, it's not impossible, but it is not so common. Okay. So self here does not mean that we just take care as to my diet. Okay, fine. Or how many clothes I have, or how many hours of gym I have done, or am I getting promotion in my work, or let's look at the program of where am I going to go for vacation. Yeah, that's okay. The recreation and all this is regulated, but really fixed on the self. Mind should be fixed on the self means alone that I am only a part and parcel of Krishna. Everything else is secondary. It's not easy. So, from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. See, I was hearing one class by Sir Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj, and he was saying, one of his friends said that while chanting japa, his mind is like a horror movie. While chanting japa, because it brings forth so many ideas, so many, so much disturbance. If we're watching a movie or TV, it's in full samadhi, right? That's the modern definition of a samadhi, a bag of chips and a movie on Netflix, right? But a minute you pick up chanting beads and you start chanting Hare Krishna, oh my God, the war starts, right? So wherever the mind wanders, that is why one has to practice the preliminary stages of yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharan, then dharana comes. So one must bring it back. And why is the mind wandering? He's giving these adjectives to the mind. Krishna is giving flickering and unsteady. I was thinking why he's using two adjectives because they might mean the same thing, flickering and unsteady. Any idea why two adjectives, flickering and unsteady? You don't think when you read the word you read flickering and unsteady. So flickering, well, I don't know the answer. I haven't received that. I haven't had I don't have a realization, but what I can say from English meaning, flickering means, okay, if we say that it is like, let's say there's a thought and the thought is not able to stay fixed in that particular thought. Let's say somebody, the mind is thinking that, okay, I have to chant Hare Krishna, focus on Hare Krishna. Oh, but you know what? I didn't sleep well last night. Oh, but the reason I didn't sleep is probably because I ate too much before sleeping. Oh, why I ate so much? Because I didn't eat earlier in the day. Oh, why I didn't eat earlier? Because I was so busy at work. Oh, why was it busy? Because there were so many things happening. Oh, but that person said, you see this flickering. So it's like flickering, it generates a thought. But then, okay, fine, let's come back to chanting Hare Krishna. So, but it doesn't stay unsteady because it can even forget I have to chant Hare Krishna. So I don't know, but you maybe I'm speculating, okay? I don't know, but this is what I understood. Flickering means it is still, for example, a candle. Krishna gives example of a candle, like a wavelength uh, in a windless place. The candle remains fixed, like that. The mind of a yogi remains fixed. So candle, if it is in a place of wind, a windy place, then it'll be like flickering before it goes off. It'll be flickering, but it'll still be generating the fire and the light. Unsteady is like, okay, it completely uproots itself from the idea. There is some mechanical chanting going on, and then there's some other program going on in some other world. We are very complex beings. Human beings are very complex. How? Because we can live many realities at the same time. At the same time, we can have this reality, which is like, okay, where I am sitting in this class, but people in India have had lunch, full stomach with food, so it's difficult for them. People in Western world have, it's early in the morning, so okay, I could have slept a little more. Or people in Australia, this is my time to go to bed, so but we are sitting in the class. So this is one reality that I'm oriented to time, place, person to where it is. Now the other reality is something which is going on in the psychological aspect. Okay, and then there can be intermingling between the two realities, and then there can be a third reality which is like of something that happened in the past or something we're anticipating in the future, and we can live all these things at the same time. And that is why Buddhists, they come up with the philosophy of mindfulness, no? Be oriented to a reality, physical reality right now at this moment, because that's all you have. But it's not easy. So flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So again, the self is, I'm actually part and parcel of Krishna. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. So this is the key of highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. This is very funny. So Sridhar Swami said that the main obstacle to of a conditioned soul to become Krishna conscious is Mahapap. Right? Mahapap. Somebody has done a really sinful activity, like killed a cow. It's so hard for them to hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But in the modern world, and this also I heard from Maharaj, is that in the modern world, the main obstacle of becoming Krishna conscious is Mahabap. Mahabap. So then Mahapap, but actually, Jesus Swami says the main obstacle is Mahapap, but in the present world, it is Mahabap. Because they don't let us realize the qualitative identity with the Supreme, you know. So, but Krishna says, fixed on me, verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. So he's emphasizing the importance of mind. You know, once I did a search on this chapter, that how many times is Krishna using the word mind in this chapter versus how many times he actually uses the word mind in the rest of the chapters. Amazing difference. Amazing. I think I don't remember the exact number. I think it was over 40 times in this chapter. And overall, it's not even that much over other chapters. So mind, mind, mind. So mind game is happening so much in this chapter. In 8th chapter also, I did one, when we'll come, I'll say, I did one analysis that how many times has Prabhupada written Hare Krishna Mahamantra, ended the purport of with Hare Krishna Mahamantra in 8th chapter. And in 11th chapter also, there's something interesting like that. So you get this, every chapter, there's something unique rasa. You know, 6th chapter, the unique rasa is mind. Thus, the self-control yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness and transcendental loving service to the Lord. So the key word here for me was constantly engaged in yoga practice. It's not that, okay, now chanting is over, now I'm going to take a break, too much, you know, tired. or I'm going to sleep. In the sleep, I forget who I am, who is Krishna, who is chanting Hare Krishna, or what is, or who are other devotees, what is Bhagavad Gita. No, it says constantly engaged in yoga practice. So unless and until one is constantly engaged in yoga practice, know that the mind is uncontrolled. We can have a doubt sometimes, because we are chanting Hare Krishna, our mind must have become controlled. My mind is somewhat controlled than the other person's mind. If we are not constantly engaged in yoga practice, we are same. Don't overrate or don't have this feeling of grandiosity, this there's a disease in psychiatry called bipolar disorder. So in bipolar disorder, there are two polarities. I think we all have polarities of personalities, but I'm not saying we have a disorder, but it's a disorder because one person goes in that one polarity a lot. That's why there's a word disorder. So sometimes that person feels that I am the king of everything or I'm the queen of everything. And sometimes it's the other way of completely low self-esteem. So when they are in the grandeur mood, they think that they are the one who is going to leave the legacy. It's a mind game, no? And then they are very rich and they overspend. Actually, they do that. People do that. That's why it's a disorder. So what I'm trying to say, why I'm bringing that up, is that don't have that sense of grandiosity in your existence that because I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I am better than you. Or, or you means other people around us. No, because the benchmark is this. Am I constantly engaged in yoga practice? Becoming a pious person is just a stepping stone to becoming a devotee of Krishna. But the ultimate goal is to become a devotee of Krishna. This is what it is, transcendental loving service to the Lord. Am I actually loving my journey in Krishna consciousness or not? Am I actually empowering? Once there was a retreat in Gitanagari, and the name of the retreat was saying yes to Krishna. Okay. So I was saying yes to Krishna, sounds good. But when I went to the retreat, they further had defined yes, they broke it down, yes as YES, right? So it's a so saying yes to Krishna, and yes is you empower self. So are you empowering yourself for Krishna or to Krishna? So it was a 3-day retreat, and there were so many discussions from other aspects. I had a good time. So am I really like loving my journey? Am I constantly engaged? Once some devotees told Prabhupada, this person is a very nice devotee. No, sometimes we say that like this also, right? This person is a very elevated devotee. This person is, that's good to see good in others. But Prabhupada is Acharya. It's not going to be same, right? So Prabhupada said, elevated devotee, nice devotee. Narad Muni is elevated devotee. So are you like Narad Muni? If not, then you just like, okay, don't have that sense of grandiosity. So, like I told you, Hridyananda Maharaj told us, we have to join Hare Krishna movement every day. It's not that I've been there for so many years. Every day we have to join. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. That is why a person in Krishna consciousness is able to connect with others. Have you seen the Hare Krishnas? They have good public relation skills. People who go and chant on the public places or do book distribution eventually develop good PR skills, right? Public relation skills. How? Because probably you do this, okay? There is a human resource department in big companies, and I think there is a PR person. Yes or no? I think there is a public relation person in that department, but their public relation person always looks. They have to do makeup to look nice because they're actually very stressed out with life, and then they would rather be like in personal relation, not public relation. But here, if we see these Hare Krishna people, the devotees who go out on the street and chant Hare Krishna, dance or do book distribution, or if somebody comes to our temples, and then we actually make them feel at home and relate to them. Yesterday at Gita Nagari, I did a fundraising for 55 people who had come from nowhere. So I was like, wow, this is good. Krishna consciousness is good. I can talk about give me money. You just came to see the dam. Give me money so we can do so many things in the dam. And they actually gave also. So because it is coming from the principle of Krishna consciousness, because it is not coming from the principle of I want to change something in you. The public relation people, why are they in that job? Because they want to get something from another person, right? There's this tendency of give me. Then only we'll maintain good relation. Or if the employee or employer and employee, there's some conflict, resolve the conflict because we wasting time and not mending money. So give me, give me. So that is not going to give any satisfaction because there is no happiness there. And we are yearning for happiness. Their happiness is in getting money. I observed, I had to go to New York earlier this week, and I was at this office, and I observed somehow Krishna gives this this lady was poor girl. Like, I don't know how she would be living the life. She was like frustrated. Okay, like frustrated is undermining word because she was like shouting at people coming to her on the desk for the applications or something she was accepting. And I was like sitting far and watching her, like what's wrong? What's wrong? This interestingly. And then after a couple of people, because most of the people were paying, I think with the debit card, the payment, and then somebody flipped cash. Then I saw her eyes becoming like big. So then I got okay, that at least some smell of enjoyment comes in the form of cash. Because card. The problem is that we are basing our definition of happiness in how much money we can earn. And we are basing the meter of our satisfaction in the job is how much can I exploit from other people. All these companies do that. Even medicine has become like that, like how many patients, how other the insurance paying back, or in marketing, Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, there's like companies are already planning, what's going to be our sales agenda. Because what can we get, what can we get, what can we get, what can we get, what can we get? It's not like what can we give is less. And whatever we give is not based on Krishna consciousness, so it will not make anybody happy. So we are actually paying money to buy unhappiness. Right? Prahlad Maharaj says that in 7th canto. What does he say? When does unhappiness of a conditioned soul starts? You should read 7th canto. When does unhappiness of a conditioned soul starts? What does Prahlad Maharaj say? Beginning of unhappiness. When is it? Nobody's reading anything here. They only come for entertainment from Prem Kishori. After that, who are you? Nobody.
Mataji, is it
The moment we start thinking of our enjoyment, I will
Yes.
enjoy like this.
Yeah, very nice. Yes, so Prahlad Maharaj said the life of unhappiness starts at the moment we start planning for happiness. Next time you plan for a vacation, know that unhappiness has started. Not like that. Only we're going to Vrindavan, or of course they go to meet the devotees. That's never unhappiness. But if I want to, buy a Tesla, topmost model. Oh, then I have to look at my bank balance. Then I have to look how much more work I have to do. Then I have to look at insurance. Then I have to look at where can I charge the car. Then I have to look at service centers. Then I have to drive. And then when I'm driving stay far away from my car, So unhappiness starts. Okay. So but in Krishna consciousness, we are happy. Why are we happy? Because we are serving. We are connected to our core nature, which Prabhupada explains is to serve. And we are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because we are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna gives this vision that if you're serving me, if you love me, then you love my dog, right? If we love Krishna, then we're going to love everyone related to Krishna. And that's the true vision. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. This is a very nice verse. We used to go around in Temple, Mangalore, and I was a student there. And I remember washing big pots. Have you ever washed pots in Temple? It's a workout. It's a workout, big. Yeah, Nikhil Prabhu, it's a workout, right? After 2-3 days, your body hurts, When while cooking, you have to churn with big spoons or big serving. I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm having muscle breakdown. I can't do it anymore. But we used to shout this verse, carrying heavy vessels. Nobody can carry, but we will still carry. And I remember shouting with other devotees these verse, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra samay pashyati. I don't even remember the verse. Let's see, let's look at the verse. 30. So next time when you go serve at the temple, you can also do that. We used to do it. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha may pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami cha sa cha me na pranashayati. So for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. My friend told us one time that when we are washing vessels in the temple, it's not that just we are getting rid of the particles in the vessel. Actually, we are actually washing our heart. That's the understanding, right? The difference in washing Krishna's vessels versus washing vessels in a hotel is that we are we are cleaning our heart. And then the same thing, I think I told you the story about the kanti, right? She told me about, did I tell you about kanti, like Prabhupada said about kanti beads? No? The older generation with me 4 years now, Rupa Mataji and Mia Mataji, did I tell you that story about kanti?
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji, I don't remember.
Okay, so so it's like Prabhupada was asked once that why do you Hare Krishna people wear tulsi beads? Okay.
Yes, Mataji, I remember now the story.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
can
I'm started.
Okay.
So why do Hare Krishna people wear kanti beads? And so Prabhupada would answer according to the understanding of the listener. Probably the understanding of the listener was not Tulsi's pure devotee and all those things. So he said, in your Western world, how do you know that this particular dog has a master and this particular dog does not have a master? The person said, oh, because a dog who has a master will have, what do you call neck strap? What do you call it? Collar, neck collar. And the dog who doesn't have a master will not have a collar. So he says, so like that, if I am a dog of Krishna, that's why I have a collar. And Krishna pulls me. Like you pull your dog with the leash attached to this neck collar, right? You pull that dog or push that dog, whatever. So like that, this neck collar is where how Krishna pulls us. It's an amazing answer. So for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Very important. Because we can actually study our life that where am I not remembering Krishna? Is it that, okay, when I have a very nice meal and then, okay, Krishna, thank you. You did your job. Goodbye. Now let me enjoy the meal. Or when I'm having a good life, in the sense that uh, all the bodily comforts are taken care of. So, okay, thank you, Krishna. Now let me just enjoy because that's how you gave me, all these things. Or when am I not remembering Krishna? So then that is a time that I have to remind myself that what is my true goal? So am I being a yogi or not, or a bhogi, or a rogi, right? Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul. Who is that yogi? Who is this such a yogi? The one who is seeing Krishna everywhere. Okay, in everything, in everyone. That person is never lost from the vision of Krishna, and Krishna is never lost from that person's vision. The relationship is mutual. So we are able to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead if we are situated, the mind is situated in the self and self alone. With self means that I am part and parcel of Krishna first and everything else is second. Right? There is a book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And one of the habits that the author talks about is a highly effective person will put first thing first. They'll not put second thing first. They'll not put third thing first. Basically, the list of their priorities straightened out. So if we applied in Krishna consciousness, we have to put first thing first. I am first part of Krishna. That's my first relationship. It's not that, okay, I'm going to chant before I sleep in the night, and the whole day I will do second things first. That's not going to be a very highly effective life, you know. So, so putting first thing first, put Krishna first, put sleep second, put food second, okay, put everything else second. If we can do that, then the result is this, that the mind becomes situated in the self. So he is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjun. Okay, it's not that dead person see the difference between a living person and a person who is dead, because they see the reality. How? Because they have seen that in themselves. They're living that reality. If I'm not living that reality, then I'm not a true yogi. I'm a yogi in the making. Okay, we can write a book like that, a yogi in the making, or a show like that. But and then what is the goal? The goal is that if by this particular that's why the Krishna conscious person doesn't want to eat meat, you know. It's because the mercy factor is so strong that no other quotation or no other notion or no other understanding from a person who is justifying their eating meat convinces the heart of a person who is chanting Hare Krishna. Yeah, it must have. Does it happen to you? Like if somebody says it is written in Bible, it is written here, it is written there, it doesn't convince, you know. It doesn't convince. Okay, you may be right. You know, I'm not arguing, but my heart is not allowing it. So I'm not gonna do what my heart is not allowing, because it is going to take away the mercy factor, because I have no right to kill a living entity and have them leave their body prematurely, because that is decided by Krishna. So let Krishna be the deciding factor. So if we can give all our aspect of life to Krishna, you decide, I will do the work, right? I think we spoke about it in 4th chapter. I was telling it to my friend last week too. The boundary of a relationship is already defined, right? We spoke about it. A good relationship has boundaries defined early on. Yes,
Very
Nikhil.
early on, you said.
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
Mataji.
Tell
You
us.
mentioned
Tell
that.
us. I love it when
No, you
somebody
mentioned.
remembers. Uh,
No, you mentioned. I remember that very clearly because that is helped me a lot. And the best relationships are those where the boundaries are defined very early on. So that
yes.
so that's what. Sorry, if you want to, I don't know if you want to listen more from me for that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Right.
No, that's what I remember very clearly, and that has helped me in my teams, and that helped me in my family, and that helped me.
Oh,
So
really?
wherever, yes. But I
So
mean,
my question
whenever,
is, Krishna is defining the boundary early on. So where is that definition of the boundary? Uh, what can I do? What does he do? You know, he's defined the boundary in 4th chapter. Uh, so there's this verse, very famous verse. Karmane eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Right, this verse. So this is the definition of a boundary. Karmane eva adhikaraste. Adhikar means right, right? So your right is you work. Karmane eva adhikaraste. You have a right to perform your duty. Ma phaleshu kadachana. I decide the result. Like ma phalashri means me, ma means I or Krishna, phalam means fruit, kadachanan, giving. So I decide what result you get, but you have a right to perform your duty. Okay, so that is a boundary. Krishna has defined it very early on in 4th chapter. You have a right to perform your duty, not entitled to the results of your action. So, like that, a perfect yogi knows that very well. That I have to become Krishna conscious because, first of all, that's good for me. Second of all, that's my real identity. Third of all, I will be safe from so many miseries. If I am fully convinced by now, by the elimination of some mahapap and mabap, that I have to do this. And then if I can do it for my own self, then I am going to bring it to other people. The topmost personalities, the most effective acharyas, if you study their life, are the acharyas who are fully convinced in their own life about what they're doing. Right? They're fully convinced first in their own private zone. What is that? The second highly effective quality, personal victory over public victory. That's one of the qualities. So they have actually accomplished a personal victory, and then they are going public with it. So it's not that I can put up a facade and become Krishna conscious. That may be possible in the age of Kali to convince and get many chela, right? Kali chela. But it is not going to pay any heed in our entrance to the spiritual world. It's not going to work there. Okay. So this was dharana. That what are we doing to accomplish the goal of external, what is it called? External regulations. And the goal is to actually control the mind. And what is the result of controlling the mind? The result of controlling them, or what is the definition of controlling a mind? Let me ask this. What is the definition of a controlled mind from whatever we read so far? Definition of a controlled mind. That mind is?
Not flickering, stable.
That is a antidote of what Krishna says of uncontrolled mind. You're smart, you're intelligent, so you can say that, but that's not really a definition. It's like saying the definition of a doctor is the person who does not have an engineering degree. So that's yes, the definition of uncontrolled mind is the mind which is unsteady and flickering. But what is the definition of a steady mind?
Hare Krishna Mataji, it means
Ah.
one who is constantly engaged in serving Krishna or in yoga practice.
Constantly engaged in serving Krishna. Okay, some adjectives are missing. Very nice. Thank you. We'll take it. Constantly engaged in serving Krishna in yoga practice. I thought that was okay. Fine. We'll take it. Thank you. Someone else, please. You don't want to try because you're scared of my scoldings. So Naminist Prabhu says only award and reward. From Kishore, you need to stop scolding people. You only award and reward. So I will do that. Okay. So tell me the definition of a steady mind. Studied? No, we studied the one who is last chance, last chance.
Mataji, one who sees Krishna in everything
Very
and
nice.
sees everything in Krishna as well.
And there's more adjective. Very nice. Go ahead. What else?
I can't conjure up anything else, Mataji. That's it.
Yeah, I brought it up. I brought it up.
Oh, so one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me.
So, in our Krishna consciousness is like very unique. It's okay, we get something which we must do. Must do, okay, we see everything in, see Krishna everywhere and everything in Krishna. And then the second process of the completeness of a definition will be what not to do. That's Krishna is never lost to that person, and then he's never lost to Krishna. What is that? Rupa Goswami Prabhupada's principle? This is based on that principle. Always remember Krishna. ठीक है? But that's not complete. Then he adds, never forget Krishna. So what to do and what not to do. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. We take these statements very lightly because, the sense of grandiosity comes into the play. But actually, if we understand from this, the devotees, then we understand that there is a depth there. Thank you, Linit Prabhu. Thank you, Rupa Mataji. And I think Anvya Mataji said also something, or I was imagining. I don't know.
Yes, Mataji, I said.
Okay. Okay, we can do 2-3 more verses. So the thing is, what is the necessity of controlling the mind? We are kind of convinced that there is a need to control the mind. Who wants to live with the unsteady, flickering? Would you like to live with a monkey in your house and have a very nicely cleaned house all the time, nothing broken? Okay, Linit Prabhu definitely doesn't want to live with a monkey. So anyone else who wants to live with a monkey in the house? Or an elephant, better than one elephant, and have a very nice lawn, or want to be a rash driver on the road. This is because if things are not in control, then the life becomes more difficult. Already it's a war zone, and that becomes like an uncontrolled war. You can't even see anything, only disaster everywhere. So that is why there's a process. At this point, Arjun is going to ask Krishna a question. So Arjun is not an ordinary person. It's not like, okay, he's ordinary person who lives and dies and not many people know about him. Arjun was one of the best students of Dronacharya, right? Arjun was one of the best archers. Arjun was one of the 5 Pandavas, highly exalted devotee of Krishna. Arjun fought with Pashupatinath and defeated him. How many of us have fought with Lord Shiva and defeated him? How many of us have done that? You're thinking, huh? You're thinking that also you're thinking.
No,
So you're thinking
not
that
me.
have
Not
I?
me for sure.
It's a no-brainer question. Then also you're thinking, amazing class I have. So Arjun is not only because he fought with Pashupatinath. Arjun is one of the incarnations of Nar Narayan Rishi, right? He's a Nar in the Nar Narayan Rishi incarnation. So he's not ordinary. He hears Krishna and then he asks this. Arjuna Vacha, Yo ayam yogastvaya prokta samayena madhusudhana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalavat sthitham sthiram. Arjun said, O Madhusudan, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So, impractical and unendurable. What is the meaning of the word endurance? The word endurance means to be able to go through the pain to achieve some goal. Like, for example, a mother is in labor pain so she can give birth to a child. It's like enduring that pain. Or if a student is able to work hard while everyone else is enjoying in their life, so that there's a pain, it's like a tapasya, so that they can do well on the exam. So endurance. So he's saying the system that you have explained is unendurable. I can't go through this. And it is not even practical, impractical. For the mind is restless and unsteady. And this is Arjun saying, who has fought with Pashupatinath, who is Narnarayan Rishi, who is companion of Krishna, who is one of the Pandavas, who is a student of Dronacharya. Nobody has this qualification. According to my knowledge, when I looked at your application forms in Bhakti Shastri, nobody filled out any of these qualifications in their application. So I can say confidently, nobody has it here. So it's not light. No? Then he says, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manne vayureva sudushkaram. So for the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, very strong. 4 qualities. Oh Krishna, and to subdue it, I think is more difficult than controlling the wind. And he can control the wind. He is not just saying it. because he has a sense of grandiosity again. He can do it by his fighting power, but he's saying mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. And this is face to face with Krishna 5,000 years ago. So this process is okay. Thank you for explaining, but is impractical, unendurable, because not that the problem is with the system, the problem is with my mind, Krishna. The mind is more difficult to control than the wind. So Krishna, I find Krishna, we can learn from Krishna how to be a friend in Bhagavad Gita. We can learn from Krishna how to be a therapist. We can learn from Krishna how to be a teacher. We can learn from Krishna how to be a good listener. Like we can also learn from Krishna how to speak. So Krishna could have said, you're standing in front of me, and I just told you that you have controlled mind means that you see me everywhere, and you see everything in me, and you're never lost to me, and I'm never lost to do. Hello, I'm just standing right in front of you. Why are you saying this is you? Your mind is controlled because I'm there and you're there. He never invalidates Arjun's questions. Never. He actually addresses them, shows empathy. That's another quality we can learn from Krishna. Everything, empathy. So he says, Shri Bhaganuvacha asanchayam mahabaho mano durnigriham chalam abhyasena tu kanteya vairagyena cha grahyate. So asanchayam means shankha means what? Shankha means what?
Doubt.
Doubt, right? Asanchayam means what? Asanchayam means what?
From doubts.
No doubt. Yeah. In Sanskrit, if you put the word a in front of another word, it means no or not. Without a doubt. Mahabaho. He's addressing Arjuna as a very great warrior. So, without a doubt, this is true. That mano means mind. Durni graham chalam. Very, very difficult to control because it is very unsteady. So he's actually vocalizing and reading back to Arjun and validating Arjun's concern. Yes, it is true. O mighty son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. So first he validates. Okay, this is a way to give feedback as a good leader. If a good leader wants to bring the potential out of the person, right? Not like do my way, otherwise take the highway. Would you like to work with such a person? My way or highway? Huh?
Nope.
Try telling it to your children. Eat this or starve. Oh no, that's my way. It won't work. So Krishna is giving a feedback. Yes, you're right. You're right, Arjun. It's right. That it is very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible. It's difficult, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But how is it possible? But it is possible. How? Abhyasena tu khanteya vairagena cha grahyate. Whenever, so it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So abhyas is practice and detachment, or vairag is detachment. I think I discussed, I don't know, this class or Bhagavatam class, which I heard from Swayam Bhagavan Maharaj, two meanings of the word vairag. Did I discuss in this class? Please remind me the meaning of the word vairagya. Okay, I heard from Maharaj, so I learned from him. One meaning of the word vairagya is to renounce, right? And then there is another meaning of the word vairagya, which is vishesh rag. Rag means attachment, and vishesh means special. So having a special attachment. Okay, so one is detachment, and the other meaning is special attachment. So detachment from what's not special and attachment to what's something special is vairag. So abhyas, that is why sadhana bhakti is so important. Vairag, that is why rules and regulations are so important. Prabhupada explains the real zest of following the rules and regulations in 5th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter. Who was there in the Rupa Mataji? You were there, right, in that class? He explains that fifth canto, fifth chapter, verse number 8, Prabhupada explains that is the real meaning of following the rules and regulations is that because we have to cut the attachment of between a male and a female. Rishabh Dev is giving instructions to his 100 sons. So the perversion is not the attraction. The perversion is thinking oneself as the enjoyer. That's the perversion. So Prabhupada says, if we follow the rules and regulations, then we actually develop that sense of attachment to Krishna consciousness. And that leads to simultaneous detachment from the perversions of material world. Like I discussed in that chapter, in India, the wheat flour, whenever we have to cook in the kitchen and we take the wheat flour to make chapatis or something, we have to, generally the practice is to filter it through a sieve, right? Do you do that? Like filter it through the sieve so that the remnants are up on the top and then we get the flour. Anya Mataji, do you do that?
No, Mataji, all the vitamin B goes away. So, but generally it is done. I don't do it.
Okay, so but just for the sake of discussion, say yes. Okay.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying though, right? Like you actually put it and then you filter it.
Mhm.
So and then you actually separate what's not needed, like a husk, particle of a husk. You don't want to have a husk shell in your mouth when eating a chapati. So like that, how do we know that we are advancing in Krishna consciousness? Are we able to filter? Are we able to filter all these things? Are we able to filter what's real to what's perversion? Do we have we developed that vision that this is real and this is a perversion? And are we able to develop that or not? This is one of the markers. Right? Hridayananda Maharaj came to Gita Nagari last summer and he explained us, you see, the attraction between male and female is not unnatural. That's not even a perversion. That's real. But it's natural. What is a perversion? The perversion is the sense of being an enjoyer. That's a perversion. The attraction is not a perversion. But if that relationship can be made to serve Krishna, we cannot say Nand Maharaj and Mother Yashoda are in a perverted relationship because they're married to each other and they're not varnashram or sannyasis. We can't say that, but they're really in a very good relationship because they're married so that they can serve Krishna as mother and father. Right? That's like so. Are we able to filter that? Are we developing that vision? And how do we do that? Krishna explains that in Bhagavad Gita here, Abhyasena tu Kanteya Vairagya cha Grihate. Practice and detachment. What is the definition of insanity? The Acharya of the modern time, Albert Einstein said that. Definition of insanity. I guess I'm the only modern person teaching the most traditional scripture, so I don't understand. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's insane. So, so if we are not developing detachment from mindless scrolling on the social media or internet, and thinking that at this time, I'm actually chanting Hare Krishna, I'm actually reading Srimad Bhagavatam, but actually not doing that, but just thinking, and actually what doing is scrolling. That's insane. You know, that person is mad. The madness. So, Pramatta, especially mad. Prahlad Maharaj says, person is specially mad. Special madness is found in this particular context. Okay, I think I can stop there today. So today we discussed the yogi definition of a yogi, why one must become yogi. The obstacle is one's uncontrolled mind. We discussed what is uncontrolled mind. We also discussed what is a controlled mind. We discussed so many things, so many jokes, I think. And then we also discussed Arjun's question that how is it that whatever you said is good, Krishna, but very, very impractical for me and unendurable. Because my mind is obstinate, turbulent, very obstinate, turbulent, unsteady, and very strong. I think the four adjectives. and read about the meaning of each of those adjectives in Prabhupada's purport. What is obstinate? What is turbulent? What is unsteady? What is the fourth one? Obstinate, turbulent, turbulent.
Strong.
Very strong. Very nice. Thank you. Restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Prabhupada explains what does it mean when he says mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, very strong. Okay, and then Krishna validates that, but then he also gives the solution because that's his position. And the solution that he has given so far is abhyas or practice and vairag or detachment. And I discussed the meaning of the word vairag. Okay, any questions, reflection, realizations, correction? We can have next class coming Friday. I'll finish the chapter and then we can discuss when are we going to have the exam. So, questions, reflections, realizations, corrections. I'll just bring this slide up. So we are in this section right now. And then next time when you study till the last chapter, last verse, pay special attention to the last verse, 47. Okay, there are too many elements in that particular purport. No questions, reflections, realizations, corrections.
When is the exam?